guys, what's up? It's me, James Me, with some Daz Studios 4.9, showing you that 360 rotation wherever you want that pivot point. We are doing pivot points, so that way you can do backflips, you can do 360 turns when you is walking. So first things first, load up that Daz Studios 4.9. Go to that smart content, whatever, figures, get them figures. Where the hell is freaking Victoria 6? Seriously. This is super annoying. Okay, there we go. Load her up real quickie, because obviously we need a figure, a model, a mesh texture, a rigged object, an illusion of a human, whatever you like to call this. That's what this is, right here. Victoria 6. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get a new pivot point, because this pivot point right here, this control module, this rotation slash direction object thingy that I'm moving right now, it only pivots it or moves it, from the base, from the feet, and I don't want that, because that's going to make backflipping super freaking hard. So what I'm going to do is get a new one of these toys right here by going to create, because I guess I got to create a new one. So I'm going to go to new null or new pivot point. And you can just name this whatever you want. I usually just leave the settings like this, because I just don't feel like getting into all this information at the moment. And it seems adequate for what I want to do. So I'll just, hit that right there. So the first things first is that by default, everything spawns right here in this point by default, same as the null. So if I hide Victoria, you can see that's where the null is. That's where the pivot point is, the new pivot point that we just got. It looks the same as Victoria's because it's exactly the same. But we're not going to be using Victoria's pivot point. We're going to be using the null's this new pivot point, our pivot point. But before we can do that, we have to parent it, so that way its directions and rotations will follow that of the nulls. Because all we're going to be doing is using the null, moving the null, and this is going to be responding to the movement of that null. So what we're going to do is, instead of like doing all the right clickings or blah 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 blahs and all that shit, we're just going to do the easy thing. We're going to go here, and we're not going to put it over here like so, because if we put it over here like so, nothing's going to happen. We're just going to put it right here to where it's touching this, where we just drop it right there, drop and drag. As you can now see, this is on the top, and this right here has this arrow key pointing out this way, letting you know nothing's expanded, but you can expand. And as you can see all the expansions and blah 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 and all this stuff right here, which is all parented to this new movement point right here. And as you can see, if you click on that, you can see the null hides it, letting you know that this is, yes, in fact, absolutely parented. So this is the baby, and the new pivot point, the null, is the parent. So in order to change the pivot point without moving Victoria, we first must unparent Victoria by simply just going like so, and just dragging it off anywhere, basically, almost. And now we can move Victoria. Or we could just click on this null, move the null right up here, right in the mid, because that's where I want her pivoted. And then we're just going to click and then the null's already clicked, and now we're just like that. Oh wait, I forgot, we have to parent it again. Just Control Z that to backspace that, also right there as well, and parent, and click on that null again, because we have to click on that new pivot point, and voila, like magic. Now she is using telekinesis to alter the rotation of her body. Isn't that awesome? You didn't know she was a superhero? Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's basically that. So if we were to move this null, she would also move as well, as you can see, because now that's her new pivot point. So we can just simply unparent her again, right? Click on this null and move this null all the way over here. And now we can just parent it back and click on this pivot point again. And now we can just pivot her around the pivot point. Oh! splendid. And that's basically that. I'm just gonna back that right there. So let's say we wanted to just move the Victoria and not the pivot point, because we like the pivot point and we liked where that pivot point is exactly, and we just wanted to move the Victoria. Well, it doesn't matter if the Victoria is what is that called, parented or not. You can basically leave Victoria parented. If you're moving Victoria, you can still click on the her new pivot point and still use that pivot point, because as you see, the new pivot point right here is right here, right? But since we're not clicked on it, it doesn't show. But if we go like so, we just move her up like her, and we just move her like her, and then we take this null, this new pivot point, and we could just move her like that. See? Now she's like flying around something for some reason, whatever. Or let me just click on this right here because it's a bit easier. Now she's, you can say she's like suspended in the air or something, or whatever. I don't know, like she's just doing this like one of those rotating ceiling fans or whatever whatever have these, like so. And you can always move her in relation to the well, you just move her, and basically wherever you leave her, that's the new pivot point, whatever. Basically that's the whole tutorial. That's the whole thing. That's everything. That's literally everything. And you can delete this null, and you put a new one. You can name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. The only thing is that you can't take this null and set this null as the new basically the null is just this. It's just this right here, right? And you cannot put these on individual ligaments, body parts, or whatever. Like I've tried, it doesn't go. As you can see, there's that sign that says like, nope, doesn't go there. So you can only parent objects to the movement point, the pivot point. Not really sure the definition of the word pivot, but it's used. But yeah, that's what that's about. That's pretty much the entire tutorial. So now I'm just going to say it again, but differently, just in case someone uses a different grammar or something. So you can basically just exit the video right now. Okay. So these ligaments right here, they all have, you actually have to click on them individually, and then you get these individual like sub nulls. Not main nulls, not primary nulls, not dominant nulls, just sub nulls. But they're not really nulls, they're just movement points. Or unless they are nulls? Yeah, they're just movement points basically, right? But they work differently, because when you move it, right? Like so, it's nice and everything, but if you get something like this and you just move the object, it'll move the entirety of the other things that's connected to it, which is not the nature of this movement thing, this movement toy. Because when you go over here to creation, you go down to your null or new pivot point. Basically, it should it only moves one. It doesn't move individual skeletal structures. It doesn't move individual rigged components, pieces, parts, structures, segments, ligaments. It moves the entirety of the entire file. It just moves the entire file, the entire mesh, the entire object, the entire illusion of a human, the entire tool, the entire actor, whatever you call it. It moves the entirety of it, and that's it. And that's basically it. That's you're welcome and all that stuff. Lates.